I'm Josh Harris, Associate State Director for AARP Illinois. We're so glad to welcome you to this exciting event. AARP knows this pandemic has been trying on us all, threatening the health and financial security of millions of Americans 50 plus. That's why it is our pleasure to bring you this night of levity, from fine art and great music to help us all recharge, connect, and address some of the social isolation we know people are feeling at this time. It's our way of reminding you that AARP Illinois is here for you, fighting to protect 50 plus voters and make your voice heard on the issues that matter. Protecting Social Security and Medicare, lowering prescription drug prices, and ensuring you can vote safely from home or in person. So enjoy the next 2 hours with Gallery Guichard, 95.1 Chicago, and the talented Nick Coleon and Teresa Griffin. And in the days leading up to the election, know that you can visit aarp.org/IL for more information to help you vote safe in 2020 and make your voice heard.
Hello, my name is Guichard, artist, collector, and co-owner of Gallery Guichard.
And I'm Frances Guichard, also known as the artist Marlene Campbell. I'm an artist, collector, and co-owner of Gallery Guichard.
Welcome to our new exhibition, Creative Ingenuity.
In these historic times, artists create with ingenuity and use materials in inventive ways.
This bold exhibition has movement, color, and expression that touches the soul. We are very excited to be celebrating 15 years, and more importantly, to see the excitement around the new virtual exhibition catalog. You and your family can walk around the gallery 24/7 and enjoy this amazing new exhibition.
Creativity is not just for the artist, it's also for the viewer.
It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Click on the link for the virtual exhibition catalog that you're interested in. Then once it opens up, you are inside of the Gallery Guichard exhibition of your choice. Now you can move around freely by touching the circles, and you can get information about each painting, title, medium, artist, and contact information for Gallery Guichard.
Visit our website at galleryguichard.com. You'll be able to experience each of the decks and enjoy the amazing art that Gallery Guichard has to offer.
Thank you again for allowing us to touch you with our creativity and create a platform for artists and collectors to meet. Welcome to the September Bronzeville Art District Third Friday virtual art tour presented by our presenting sponsor, AARP, and contributing sponsors, Blue Cross Blue Shields and People's Gas. My name is Guichard, artist of 29 years, co-owner of Gallery Guichard, here with my amazing wife and business partner, Frances Guichard.
Hi, guys.
And we're here today because we're opening the amazing exhibit, Creative Ingenuity. And two of our artists aren't physically here with us in Chicago, but they're here from Maryland and Brazil. So we're going to start off with Calvin Coleman. If you could introduce yourself, talk about how long you've been painting and your inspiration as an artist.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Calvin Coleman, and I've been painting, I would say in a business sense, since 2004. But I've been painting probably since 1989, to be honest. That's when I first started. And you know what really is inspiring me right now is creating works of art that speak to the soul and uplift the soul. It's kind of like creating work for the wellness of people's emotions. So that's where I am right now.
That is wonderful.
It's great, yeah. So Calvin, we've known you for quite some time, actually, probably since 2004. And your work is amazing, and I just love how you've grown in your work and how your prices have grown too. You really have established yourself in the market, and it really resonates well with myriad of people all over the world. Can you tell us a little bit about your mediums, your style, your
Yes.
genres that you work in?
Absolutely. You know, when I first started, I was very much into mixed media, using fabric and texture and things of that sort. And I got away from that and just started using, I left the fabric alone and started using more texture and paint. Well, believe it or not, my son is an artist, and he kind of motivated me by looking at him. He kind of motivated me to go back how I used to paint, which is adding fabric and cloth and more realism in my work. Because I do a lot of abstract work, but I'm starting to do more realism, but adding, I would say, a little bit of abstract in it as well. So right now I'm doing a body of work that deals with realism, a lot of fabric, and abstract in the same painting.
Nice. And then before we get to Cynthia, you know, I just want to reiterate something Francis said. It's funny, here in Chicago, a lot of people believe you were a resident of Chicago because you've been selling in Chicago for 15 years. And it's funny, people say, well, where does he live? And I said, in Baltimore, I think they believe it. So that's the story about the reputation you've been able to build. But tell us a little bit about how in your life are featured in your work and how that's significant for you.
I create a lot of women because I believe that women are very, very strong creatures, humans, and their spirit resonates very deeply within me because I'm going to sound cliche-ish, but you know, growing up with my grandmother when I was younger, having my aunts around a lot and my mother, but just having that in my spirit as a young boy, and then after maturing, realizing how strong women are, I incorporate them in my paintings. So I think that's where the roots are with that.
Love it, beautiful. So now we have another amazing guest on the line, and Cynthia, we had the privilege of meeting while we were exhibiting in Florida, and a chance meeting led to looking at her amazing work. And now this is the second exhibition, which we're really excited about to share some more new work. And without further ado, I'd just like to, from across the pond, welcome Cynthia.
Thank you so much. Sorry, my English terrible. Then I will try to talk something.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you became an artist and how long you've been painting and the inspiration behind your work.
Yes. Since I was child, I draw, and then I became into more technical drawings. Then I decided to graduate in civil engineer. I am civil engineer, and I worked for 15 years. And one day I I was so upset with my profession, and I decided to return to draw and to paint too. Then it was around 2005, 6, and in 2012 I became to be more professional in my paintings. Oh my God, it's not easy to speak English for me, sorry. So
You're doing great.
You're doing wonderful. I wish I could speak Portuguese equally
Right.
as well. I'd be all right.
may I speak Portuguese, please?
Well, your work is amazing. And there's a piece or pieces that you have in this show about the forest. Can you give us a little insight to that?
Yeah, Brazil is really, really big. We have lots of different, I forgot the words, views and some different things to motivate me to paint. And I love botanic trees and mountains. We have lots of different lands.
Has COVID made you think about your art different?
Well, I had first of the pandemic. I participated in a group of painters doing to study and to improve my painting. And after that, we quit this. Then I just be home and paint at home and something like this. But I continue searching for different materials and technicals. I don't know if it's okay, but different. For example, I love to paint people. But here in Curitiba, people love abstract. Then they asked me to do abstract. Then it's not easy because for me, it needs to make sense. Then I think something that makes sense for me. And that's it. COVID is around the world and nothing to do for now.
That's
No
right.
travels. But Curitiba is a safe place. Yeah.
I was going to ask Calvin about that same question, and there's a piece in particular in this new show, Creative Ingenuity, which has a pink background. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
So right now I'm working on a series called Black is Beautiful series, and that derived from everything that's going on in the world, in our country, and it really depicts that we are still a beautiful people, you know, despite what's going on. And the painting here that you see, this is Black is Beautiful number 6, I believe. And again, this speaks to my style that I'm working on now, where it's some realism. However, I wanted to incorporate some abstract a feel to it as well. So you have a woman who, she may look troubled, but actually she's giving thanks. And she's giving thanks because despite what's going on, she is still beautiful. She still is living. You know, she still has her faculties with her. So this is one of the paintings that is in that series, and I think I sent 3 others in the same breath as that.
That's awesome. And I love the mixed media. Can you tell us a little bit about the mixed media that you're doing in the painting?
Sure. Well, that's one of the techniques that I went back to, what that I used to do when I first began painting years ago. And I'm enjoying using the fabric, you know, the texture of the mixed media, because it gives the painting a whole nother, I think, element, characteristic. And the abstract part of this painting is the background of it, with the colored paper, with the, you know, squiggly lines, what have you. I just like how it's different from what I used to do. You know, this body of work is quite different from what I used to do, and I'm enjoying creating.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Cynthia, I want to grab one of your paintings for us. I think it's just so amazing how you all are both taking something, which is the title of the show, kind of creative ingenuity. We all have the same mediums to work with, but yet find ways to take things that are available and add something.
Now I use acrylic paint, but I decided to use a different product, and the technician is called pouring painting. Then I decide to mix with acrylic painting. Then I decide to do something not so realistic, something a little bit more fluid, more not abstract, but something different. Then I use acrylic paint on canvas and pouring paint mixed.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
And I use water, and I like the effect of the water mixing paintings, and then sometimes I use
you know, like the squeeze down.
yes, yes.
Yes, nice.
And I use in my paintings resin too, and I have something here with resin, and I mixed.
Yeah, I love it. It's just amazing how it really comes together, and you have great control over your media.
But I do want to just, before we end, I know we'll have some more questions for you, but one last question. What would you say to a young artist who's interested in expressing themselves during this period of COVID? How would you encourage them to still pursue their dreams?
Continue creating, because just the way we see the world is different. We need to think about the health of everybody, but we can't think that it's the end. Of course, it's not the end. We need to continue to live, creating, and do the best for everybody, for the others. And artists here in Brazil suffer a lot because there is no theaters, no movies, and no exhibitions, no galleries opened, and everybody is suffer.
Wow.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah. But we need to continue creating and think positive, and because it's just something to do people think more about others. And
That makes sense. Calvin, what would you say?
I would say that during this time has really pushed, I would tell a young artist to definitely listen to their inner person, because in a time like this, I think it has pushed many of us almost to the edge. When I say that, I mean to the edge of creativity. You know, there's so much going on around us, and there's so much that people want to get out and express. They just need to do it, but not hold back what's within them.
Love it.
And just allow their environment to fuel their creativity.
That's excellent. This has been a great conversation.
Amazing. So once again, two of my favorite artists. I can't say enough how I love the technology that we can be in Brazil, Maryland, and Chicago.
Right.
And now we're going to pass it on to our next two artists from Bill and Cincinnati. So
Cincinnati and Maryland.
in Maryland. That's right. So thank you again, guys. And
Thank you.
all I can say is your work is amazing, and all of us are better because of the work that you're creating.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much for your time today.
thank you so
See their work again on the deck, and you can go to GalleryGuichard.com. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later too.
That's right. So if you see something you like, make sure you reach out to Francis or myself. And as they say, study long, study wrong, because these artists are hot and works move very fast. Thanks again, guys. Keep on creating, and we'll see you next time.
bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hi, Cedric.
How you guys doing?
Fantastic. We've got matching artwork in the background drops. Look at this. I love it.
Without a doubt, same color scheme.
Yes. So,
Yes. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started? What inspired you to become an artist?
yeah.
Well, I think there's always been we all of us as children had that need to want to create with pen and paper and crayons, to get what we see around us into a being, into a reality on paper. So I think with us as artists who decided to keep on going with it, we just found ourselves just, while the other kids were outside playing and carrying on, we found this comfort and joy being by ourselves creating. And I guess you started getting recognized for it. People start recognizing you for having this talent, this God-given ability. And so you have an obligation to greatness and to perfecting yourself. And you just get involved. And, I went to school for it, kept on following through with the passion and the know-how through associating with people in galleries, and just kept it going.
Beautiful.
So very honored.
Tell us a little bit about your process, what mediums you use, and it just seems so extremely detailed. I mean,
Yeah.
How much time does it take? We'd like to
Well,
know.
it varies on each painting. For example, the painting that you have behind you is called Blues. What's it called? Blues Room. And actually, the composition, or the colors, I should say, were inspired by one of my students who I was teaching over at St. Francis Seraph, where I teach over in Cincinnati, Ohio, at this Catholic school. And I can't remember the student's name, but she did this abstract painting. It was very Cubist inspired, because I'm always teaching the kids about art history and some of the influences that influenced me. And so when she showed up with this painting, I just loved it so much. It had a green background. That's why you have that green there. And it had these little pockets of blues and yellows and orange, but it didn't have any purple. So when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's a great background for one of my characters or one of my forms. So at the time, I think it was back in 2015, I started doing, there's 3 separate characters that you see in the painting, almost kind of like Picasso's guitarist or whatever. So I drew the form separately, and then the colors came from somewhere else. So basically, when I create my work of art, form is one thing. It's usually just pencil to paper where I just draw randomly these shapes, these designs, these compositions. Then I might have an outside influence, whether it's a child's work, whether it's art history's past, whether it's me going to I'm in the lobby of a hotel and I just love the color pattern that's on the floor. Whatever happens, those are the colors. And then I put those two worlds together and that creates, like something new, what I bring to the table. So it's various influences. I look at that. Sometimes our work can be landscape painting, it could be all kinds of different genres, but there's always a sense of rhythm that happens with this complexity of all over compositional climax where parts and shapes are moving like music, decisively through the canvas.
Fabulous.
That is awesome. And when I look at your work, I see music, I see rhythm, I see a good, wonderful, inspiring flow. What do you feel, or what do you do when you paint? Do you listen to music, or do you, what do you do to kind of bring out that creativity?
Well, I do listen to music, and a lot of artists listen to music when they paint. But I think with me, there's a sense of I listen to a lot of different styles of music, a lot of different eclectic styles of music. I like movie soundtracks. I like movie soundtracks. I like acid rock, jazz, funk, hard rock. I listen to it all. But recently, believe it or not, I've been listening to a lot of kind of motivational stuff, just things that's people's stories that I can relate to, social situations. And maybe that doesn't come out to the work, but it puts me in a peaceful place to where I'm like, I can identify with that. Next thing you know, I'm just doing the painting. I think whatever I'm listening to, it has to flow with me so I can flow with the paint, and it has to have that vibe. But I love movie soundtracks too. Like the guy who does this James Bond movie soundtracks, gosh, I can't remember his name right now, but it's just, there's a lot of movies that he's done soundtracks for. John Barry is his name, that I've never seen. But the music kind of makes me think about what would it be like, subconsciously in the movie as I'm actually painting. So there's all kinds of wild stuff that goes on. But as long as I'm focused on the artwork and I'm feeling good about it, then whatever I'm listening to is going to work.
Nice. And I think I'll end with one question. As a cubist, abstract painter, how do you express or capture today's moment with COVID and everything that's going on? How does that come out in your work?
I think it comes out naturally. I think what happens is artwork has always been that way for me to escape, and find my voice within myself. I've tried to create work. I've had ideas and feelings about isolation, darkness. Some of the morbid things are happening in the world. And on many occasions, I've tried to articulate that through my painting. And every time I would do it, it would just come out in something that's vivid, something that's colorful, something that's rhythmic, something that's just happy, honestly. And I think that's what I want to bring out. No matter how dark, my day is becoming, no matter how dark things are out there. And believe it or not, I listen to political commentary from both sides of the fence when I'm listening to while I'm painting too. But when it gets to name calling, when it gets to not trying to motivate you to think different ways, to kind of try to find our likenesses rather than our differences, then it messes up the paint. And so I think today's issues, today's concerns, have always been my concern and always been my fears and worries. But I get through those concerns and have better answers for them as I'm painting, because I hear everything. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to speak through a clear voice that's positive. So.
Well, it's the lemons and the lemonade, and it is the essence of this show, the creative ingenuity.
Right, exactly.
It's important. I think it's so important for everybody. Everybody's really concerned with our voice and our minds and how we're interpreting the world around us. But they also need to remember we interpret things beautifully and creatively and artistically, and that we need to remember that there's a beauty, there's an honesty, and there's always a glory to our art making and our creativity that's vast and not just one dimensional. And so thank you guys for having this show.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. This is awesome.
Thank you for touching the world with your creativity. And we'll see you next time. Today, we're going to just talk a little bit about who is Preston Sampson. We've known you for at least 10 years, but we're trying to figure out how
Longer
we
than that.
It's been longer than 10.
Oh, okay.
Look,
You were doing pulp paper.
that's right.
Right.
And
Right.
that was in the 90s. That was in the, wow, that was in the,
Is that back in the
when the
Like,
Puck Bills
New York, the
were
Puck
going
Bill.
on. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
'Cause, you know, you stole a piece of my work to this brother, Robert Mallett. You remember him?
Is one of the long pieces?
No, not one of, but look, this is one, he one of the top collectors around here. He got some unbelievable work. As soon as I saw the piece he got, I said, that was Andre at the Puck Building. I remember like it was yesterday. So that was in the 90s.
Okay, well,
New York
think
Black
probably-
Fine Art Show. Maybe in the late 2000s. I mean, early 2000s.
Oh yeah, 2000, 99, 2000. Because okay, I had that house or the place on Capitol Hill. Remember when you came over there?
Okay.
Picked up all this stuff, and I was like 2000. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's been a long time, bro. 20 years. No.
So you've been keeping creative and finding ways to do things, whether it's pulp or now the encaustics. And I've got a piece.
Look at that frame, man. That's look, there it
That's
is.
not caustic.
That's not encaustic. No, that's.
But I love this piece, and I love it because it feels like a giant painting, you know, and I love that about your work. Your work always feels like just big work, and you get a lot in small spaces, but it's impactful. So talk about the ingenuity of how you approach this piece.
Okay, well, look, I'll tell you, this piece is like a study for and it's funny you say big piece because it was a big piece. It's a scale piece. It was one done. It was an installation at a school in Washington, Kimball School, and that was one of the studies for it. And the whole concept was, you know, I always thought it was like, you know, it's kind of like the year of the woman. I think it's the era. It's about time that people started understanding that, hey, sisters are the truth. You know, I mean, it's been overlooked, underappreciated. Little girls of where we are in society right now, the little girls are starting to look up and say, whoa, just like I think during Obama, you know, boys got started to think, hey, we can do this. Now you got Kamala, you got a lot of, and not just her, she's the person who's out front. But there are so many powerhouse African American and women all over the place, white and black, everybody, just women, period, who are really taking a lead in society. And I think the thing that I thought was really interesting about this piece, a little girl, she's pondering her future, you know, pondering what, you know, the future, but also looking toward the past, you know, because with the little one in the past, she's painting her future. But in the future is also like a revolutionary. She's Angela Davis.
It's like full circle.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's back, present, past, present, you know, future. And the little boy is kind of looking on saying, wow, she's doing her thing. You know, they're looking on, you know, taking a different approach. So, and the painting was big, but, you know, conceptually, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what I was going to do. I love this little piece, you know, and it turned into, and it's funny, like you said, Greg, it's a big piece, and it does, you know, I feel like one of the things about my work is layering, you know, complexity. I think it is a thing that, you know, it's not just one thing. You know, I always want you to be able to look and see, be self-interpretive about what you see in work. I think that a lot of
I think the current art world, the art market, and just, you know, what people are doing with their art, there be some really brilliant stuff. People are really doing their thing. And I applaud it, and I think the young folks are doing really great, but I think a lot of them, it's really hard edge. You know, I mean, so it's really tight, and then but you know, Dre, you know me, that's never been me.
Right.
I'm always a little bit more interpretive, you know, it's, you know, I want you to be able to kind of look and say, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, because I guess, you know, I came through Maryland with Dr. Driscoll and, you know, Sam Gilliam and Argo Humphrey, Pete Mars, and all those folks, Chip Richardson. And it was abstract school of thought. And I still think I have somewhat of an abstract feel for my work. Mm. So it's kind of like a dance between the both of them. And I don't even, because I've even done my abstracts and florals and different things, but even I think in context of a painting, there's a lot of like micro paintings in the middle of them, you know, like partials. And so it's, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, you know, like as far as technique. But I don't know, Andre, did you see the piece that I did with the bullet casings? Mm-hmm. You know, there's another one. I paint with whatever, you know, and I guess that's the whole thing, you know, whether it's
caustic.
Yeah, I want to know a little bit more about your encaustics and your pulp.
Paper.
You know how you used to do that? That was like amazing.
Oh, and I still do it. Yeah, but I'm still doing it, you know. And matter of fact, I just got reintroduced to one. As a matter of fact, today I will hopefully, you know, keep my fingers crossed, but I think I'm gonna be in a show that's like a pretty diverse set of artists called Eternal Paper. You know, Helen Frederick used to run Pyramid Atlantic and George Mason paper thing, whatnot. It's a group show of paperwork. So I've done over the last year or so, I've actually started getting back into that. You know, because it's hard to do it because I don't have the facility. You really need to rent the space. And there are only a handful of places around, period, from here to New York that you can go make paper. And so for
those novices, can you tell them a little bit more what pulp and encaustic, you know, what that is, what kind of medium those are?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So now, which one you want to know first, the pulp or the encaustic?
The pulp.
The pulp, okay. The pulp is liquefied fibers. It's fibers and pigments. Pigments are made in the buckets of paint, you know, so red pigments into paper. Handmade paper has a consistency somewhat of like what I always say is chopped up toilet paper and water, you know, and like a little egg yolk or something. This can be a little slimy with other things. It stinks. You know, it takes a lot of that stuff to make one batch of solid gold. So it's a lot of work. It's really involved. It's not very, it's not a medium where you can be tight and totally defined. I mean, because it goes all over the place. And one of the things that I like about that medium so much is it's a surprise to it. You don't know what you're gonna get. Like any printmaking form, you do it and you grind it and pull it off and say, man, I didn't mean for that to happen. You know, it squishes down or something changes that you thought. So it also, I think, is a good metaphor for art and life in general. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, you do something and see what happens. And when you pull that paper back, it's a surprise every time. You know, so, you know, but you do, okay, you make sheets, you know, paper, and it's wet, so you also have wet pulp. So I do it with different mediums, whether it's like those squeeze bottles, like the ketchup are in at the you know, McDonald's and place, those squirt bottles. You can put it in there and draw lines, make lines. I dig into them sometimes. I've taken now to do a stencil work where I'll actually, you know, you know, work through stencils and let it be hard edged. I've done things with collage, you know, embedding other either fabric or paper or different kind of objects into the paper to make that happen. So it is, again, whatever there's something that could be learned to do it with the art, I'll do it. You know, it's always Oh yeah, and see, okay, here's the funny thing about encaustic. I first started doing encaustic probably, I can't remember. It's been a few years, but I got asked to teach a class at community college in Baltimore by a friend of mine. She needed me to fill in, and I told her I'd never done encaustic. I don't even know what you're talking about. So how do you do that? I didn't know how to do that, but I told her, why not? Sure, you know. So I went and I made the mistake of telling the students I didn't know what I was doing. So they were like, wow, we paying for a class and this dude don't even know what he's doing. So I was kind of learning that. You know, she told me that basically she thought of me to teach the class because she says the same principles as well. She said, you know, it has the same kind of quality of how the colors mix with each other. Only this time, instead of a water paste, this is fire. Earth, wind, and fire. You know, I mean, so I started playing around, even like having to do the Zoom thing. You know, this is a new experience for me. You know, but trying to transition my work into the next thing. You know, and I've learned a lot, and I've done a lot of work during this time. They've been smaller works because you know, you've been to my studio. You know, I like you say, I've always thought big, you know, like big space, big.
It always feels big. Even your big pieces are just amazing. But I love how you get that big feeling in every piece. And, you know, it's just beautiful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's good. But you know, but I say this, Andre, there's also been, you know, like the subject matter. I mean, you know, one of my I was listening to Calvin earlier, and you know, he paints a lot of women. Well, you know, I've always paid my body of work for continuing since 1980 something. It's been about men. It's been about my granddad, and you know, like the story with black man, because I don't think that we get nowhere near enough credit for being strong. Come on, you and Fran been married for 100 years. You know, I mean, I'm just you've been together. You know, you stuck there. You've been, you know. You don't get talked about. I don't get talked about. You know, we're supposed to be sorry, off to the side, you know, gone somewhere. We aren't. We aren't. I think we're proud and strong. There's a lot of us who are handling our business. Like I said, you one of my heroes, bro. What you doing with that gallery, you know, and how you doing business and everything else. So it's beautiful. And I say this, man, that I have responded a lot to some of what's been going on with some of the negativity and trying to turn it positive, you know, and, you know, some things are not so positive. I mean, as in the bullet cases, you know, and different things, and some of the not so pleasant things. But I think social justice is a thing that's on everybody's mind right now. I mean, every artist. See, I always think that any time that you live in, your art should reflect if you're being real with yourself and as, you know, just as a person, as an artist, it should have something to do with what your stimulus is around you. You know, what's going on? You know, how's something making you feel? What do you want to portray? What do you want other people to see about, you know, who we are? You know, and that's kind of where I would have to say where I respond. And I've been really, really busy, you know, and active. And I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of different kinds of work that maybe I haven't done in the past. And we're gonna see. You're gonna see. You know, I say, you know, I got my hands taped up. You know, and so hey, well, this too shall pass. You know, all of this stuff, all the craziness, and man, like I say, the fact that y'all are doing, you know, y'all are the power couple. I don't care nothing about Michelle and Barack. Y'all, this is it. Andre and Fran, y'all are the ones, man.
Well, we
Thank
only
you so much.
as good as our artists, and you are.
Thank you, Preston. Absolutely, you are amazing.
Amazing, and that speaks to that same content that I really love what you were saying about this creative ingenuity. You're a documentarian, and you're documenting these times, and you're bringing the very, very important subject matter about Black men forward and Black women. So I say how honored we are to continue to work with you and to have this amazing work in this exhibit tonight. And everybody, remember, you and your family can take your time and watch and look at amazing pieces like this with the virtual exhibition catalog. And if you see something you like, press on the meta tag below. And Preston, all I can say is, brother, just keep touching the world with your amazing creativity.
Thank you for being here.
Man, y'all are the best in the business. Like I say, I'm the president of the fan club. You know? But thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I thank you, Andre, for keep doing what you're doing. Because I know this is not easy. It's not easy. And what you're doing, that place is stunning, beautiful, and and it just y'all keep it going. I'm proud and glad to be part of what you're doing too.
Thank you, Preston.
So we'll see you soon. And thank you again for contributing to this exhibit. And everybody, make sure you check out Preston on this new Creative Ingenuity virtual exhibit catalog. And Preston, we'll see you next time. Welcome back. We're here on the virtual Bronzeville Art Trolley Tour. And we're actually here with an artist that not only has a reputation on the East Coast, has a reputation here in Chicago at Gallery Guichard because of Bombay Sapphire, one of the DC winners, Alberts, and we're really excited to have him here. Francis, I know he's one of your favorite artists.
Yes, he is. Alberts from Maryland.
That's right.
Yes,
right.
All the way from Maryland, and he does amazing work. So I won't talk about Al. I'll let Al talk about Al.
So what's up, Al?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm no good at talking about myself, but I sure do appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you. We appreciate you, and very excited that you are one of the featured artists in Creative Ingenuity, and just someone who takes mediums that are available to us, like ballpoint pen and oil pastels. But tell us a little bit about your creative process. What is the process for you?
Well, my creative process is pretty much depending on the story I'm trying to tell. I try to tell a story with a portrait, and I'd rather for someone to look at the portrait and can see my story and see their own story at the same time. If I'm telling a story in color, more than likely it's going to be in color pencil or acrylic paint. But I like to draw more than paint. And when I tell a story that's more or less like dramatic, then it's going to be mostly black and white in ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen is just a medium that comes comfortable to me. I've been doing it since high school. Most artists do it as far as sketching in a sketchbook. I just do a finished product out of the ballpoint pen.
It's amazing how you take something that we take for granted every day, and you use that medium to create amazing work like this. And be able to really tell a story with text, the depth of, the feel and the colors that you use within, each of your images. Tell us a little bit about how you got started doing what you do as an artist.
Well, I had a mom that's an artist and a dad that's an artist. So I've always watched them do it, but, I was raised by my grandmother, and she was a school teacher. And she didn't make too much money as far as a salary when it comes to trying to buy art supplies. So when the assignments came from the school, I always found the supplies that I had in the house, which that was ballpoint pens, that was color pencils, that was crayons. And the thing about, as a professional artist now, like most artists will see oils or acrylics, they know the complication and the problems that come with using it. The mediums that I use, you don't have to be an artist to know what it takes to use this pencil or use this ballpoint pen. So everybody can get some type of understanding of what it takes to draw on wood or draw on paper.
So your complexity with a ballpoint pen, I think is what astounds people so much, you know, because they think, wow, it's just a regular big pen or a ballpoint pen, but you take that and you make masterful art. So creative ingenuity is your DNA, but how do you make it so simple?
Well, it doesn't. I guess it comes simple because I see the shadows, I see the lights and the darks. I don't see the piece until I back up off of it. So it's sort of like Andre Guichard original. When he's creating, he can feel the lines, feel the paint, feel the colors. I do the same thing with ballpoint pen because I'm so close up on it while I'm doing it. So it's more abstract to me than realism. It doesn't become what it is until I back up off of it.
And you know, I noticed in some of your paintings, or I'm sorry, not paintings, but some of your drawings, you incorporate other materials. Let us know a little bit about what you do and why you incorporate those materials. And I'll give you one example. Sometimes you'll use buttons, or in the one piece that we have now, I believe you use material.
Right, that's something new that I just started. Actually, I got it from Calvin Coleman, another artist that's in the show. He started using fabric, and I started looking at the fabric that he was doing, and I wanted to get brighter colors out of what I was doing. And once I started it, it became linked to me. I mean, that's what I've been doing lately. I do 1 or 2 pieces a day now, and before then, it takes me about a week or 2 to do 1 piece.
Nice, nice. So they say there's a story behind every piece. What's the story behind this painting and the title?
The story behind that thing is fatherhood. It's bearing fruit. It's just not just having children, not just having babies, but it's raising them. And that's the title of that piece is fruit bearing. It's not just what is it? It's when a tree bears a fruit, it depends on what the tree is. If the tree is a good tree or a bad tree, it's going to show in the fruit that you bear. And the same thing with raising kids and inside of your home. You know, people would know what's happening inside your home by the children that's out there in the streets and what they're doing in school and what they're doing walking the streets. So they'll know what type of home that child came from. And that's what that piece is all about. And the line of work that I'm doing right now is less likely to talk about the protesting and the Black Lives Matter, but it's more likely to talk about peace. Peace be still. It's strength in stillness. Yes. You know, and like other artists, other galleries and other artists tell me, when are you going to start your protest pieces? And I can't start it if it's not in me. What's in me is peace. You know, so I just went the opposite direction than what everyone else is going in. I'm calling for peace, and in my work, I want you to see that it's strength in being still. You know, not doing nothing, but being a strong person. You know, a man of steel, S-T-I-L-S.
Love it.
I love the common thread between the different artists, just having the conversations with each of you, that while you're documenting this time, you're taking another step of finding the lemon in the lemonade and creating joy and peace, so the people who see and feel your work feel better at a time when they need to feel better.
Exactly. And that's probably been my life. You know, no matter what I went through, controversy or war, I've been to war. No matter what I went through in my life, I've always tried to get peace out of it. You know, every time I lose my cool or go in the wrong direction, you know, I feel bad afterwards. You know, I have to come back, I have to apologize. If I get into an argument with somebody or a disagreement, I have to find some type of way of finding out where I went wrong and where I could have done better. So the same way with what's going on in the world today. You know, we're locked up, we're in our homes, and it's controversy all around us. You know, and that's the same way in the story of Peace Be Still with Jesus Christ. You know, it's controversy all around him. And all he said was, peace, be still. And that settled everything. And that's what I wanted to present in my work and show people.
I love it. I love it. I love how, you know, you're able to tell that story by just looking at this. And then I think a lot of people will get this message and be able to have peace as they look at your work.
Thank you.
My last question, and those of us who don't know what a Kandinsky is, I just love the fact that there's another piece on the back of all your pages. What is going on, man?
That's just my mindset. That's where my mind was going at one point, and it stopped. You know, so with ballpoint pen, it's hard to gesso over top of it. It's hard to erase it. So you just turn it over and you continue on. Maybe in the future or in the long future, people can see what's on my mind and what was going on in my mind during this time when I created a piece on the other side.
Yeah, it's great. It's almost like you're getting two pieces for one.
That's right. Wow. Well, Al, I can't say enough other than the fact that our friendship, I'm happy to have a friend on the East Coast, and your talent has never stopped to just amaze me. Just proud to know you as a brother.
Yeah, you're awesome.
I same here with you guys, man. I learned from both of you guys. And I saw Fran, how she developed as an artist and with all the questions she was asking. Now all of a sudden I'm asking her questions.
I love it.
Thank you for being the inspiration.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much.
So everyone remember, this is one of many amazing pieces on the virtual exhibition catalog for this new exhibition. And I'll give the title to Frances because she came up with this title.
Creative ingenuity.
Right.
Artists are creative, their imagination comes out, but yet they're using their materials and creating things in a very unique way. And Al, awesome work.
Yeah, you knocked it out the park.
Thank you,
Al, and make sure, don't study long, because this is another one that won't last long. So take care, Al, and keep
All right, thank you guys for keeping me in mind all the time.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Guichard, and my painting that I'm featuring tonight in Creative Ingenuity is entitled The Roads We Travel, and it is a acrylic on aluminum, and I like to use different mediums, but what the aluminum did in this case was it just really created a different experience with the palette knife and the pigment, because the surface was so slippery that it was one of those processes that you enjoy, but I was really speaking to the many roads we travel over a lifetime and the paths we cross with different people, and that's really how life happens. So the roads we travel is truly about living life and embracing the different roads that are presented to us. And I'm very excited to be amongst these great artists tonight, and this is my piece, The Roads We Travel.
Welcome back to Creative Ingenuity. My name is Guichard. Frances Guichard. I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm just loving the conversation.
It's been awesome. This conversation is just amazing, and it's so refreshing to be able to hear the artists speak and then have time to really talk with them.
So they always say there's a story behind the art. There's motivation that motivates the artist, particularly during these times. And I love the common thread of how the artists are inspiring and creating inspiring works, which is amazing. So
Ingenuity.
We do have a couple housekeeping items that we'd like to talk to you about before we continue. Normally we would be finished and we'd be going into our after party, but We did have slight technical difficulties. We're actually going to reschedule the after party, and we're going to extend tonight's exhibition, which is normally 1 hour, by about 20 minutes because we have more amazing artists to talk to. And we also have another program, 2020 Victory, we want to share with you too about
Exactly,
voting.
2020 Victory.
So without further ado, the next artist is a dear friend, and I would say one of the foundations of Gallery Guichard. Abiola Akintola not only is one of our premier gallery artists, but he's also the mentor for an amazing artist behind us, which is Stephen Olalekan. And I'm going to start with asking Abiola to tell us a little bit about this amazing piece behind us, the work that Stephen is doing because he's not here today. And without further ado, Abiola Akintola, then we're going to talk about his work and D. Lammy's work, and also mention some of the other artists that weren't here, like Makeba Kadim DeVos. So without further ado, Abiola Akintola, how you doing, brother?
Thank you.
You know, it is amazing the things that you're doing, so please enjoy.
Oh, thank you. I met Stephen Olalekan about, I believe 5 years ago. I was invited by a friend of mine to do a sculptural piece for the government in Nigeria. And that's when I met Olalekan. I saw him in a studio of Ebenezer, and he was painting, and I liked the painting. I said, wow, this guy reminds me of myself when I was at that age. And I said, where are you from? He said, oh, he's from my village, which is Okero in Nigeria. So that prompted me to talk to him even more. After that, I invited him to my studio in Nigeria, and we started, the dialogue of how we can conceptualize a piece together. So that's how I met him. He's a young, very talented, very prolific artist. He's always mindful of two things: that a work of art is not a copy of anything, but the thing that is really you is your signature. So, and I told him what Picasso once said, that in order to break the rules, you must have mastered them. So it dabbled into a lot of abstraction, which is what I learned from my master as well. My brother in London, his name is Ademola Akintola. So one time, my brother took me to a gallery when I think I was 17 years old. And at the gallery, I saw a piece of art that I love so much. And I said, I can do that. My brother said, no, you can't do that. I said, brother, I can do that. He said, no, you can't do that. He said, you can do it after you have seen it. I said, wow. She was trying to let me see that because you can see a piece of art done by another artist, that doesn't mean that that is you. You can copy all you want, but that's still not you. So you have to be genuine and be honest, be faithful to yourself. And that's the same thing I passed on to Olalekan.
So you speak about a fingerprint that clearly Stephen Olalekan has developed. Tell us a bit about this series behind you and how this evolution has built on some of the previous work from that series.
Okay, good. So in the studio, we talk about, when artists, the thing about art is, not only is it your personality, it's your personal experience. And Olalekan started the journey of dealing with a lot of materials. So at that point, he's still trying to discover himself. So one day, I guess, he left a piece outside, and it was time to see how it's going to react to the weather, the elements outside. And it turned out to be something that he loved. I said, oh, Uncle, come and check this out. I said, wow, this is nice. This can be a journey that you can take from here to the next level. And I believe when people come to the gallery, to my studio, all I try to paint is a picture or a story. And I think I told a story of a guy who was living very close to Mount Everest. The guy saw a lot of people climbing this mountain. I said, wow, I think I can do that. So he asked the first guy, how did you do it? The guy said, well, it's very hard, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, he asked about 30 other people. So he said, well, once you've done it, I believe I can do it too. And then he stopped doing what he could have done, which is climb the mountain. So one day, somebody told him that if you have to climb the mountain by yourself, your experience is going to be different. Even though we work in the studio together, you know, I said, don't worry about me. If I need to tell you something, it is just my own experience, but you have to have your own experience. So if you climb the mountain that we're talking about, that is your personal experience, and get to the peak, your struggle is going to be different from our struggle. So to me, a piece of art is not just valuable because it was made by an artist. The work's real value lies in its ability to express something significant in a significant way, in such a way where it can reach out and people can learn from it and be inspired. That is what Olalekan has, been through the journey that we are traveling together. He's a fantastic artist.
Yeah, he is a very fantastic artist. I just love how he creates something out of, you know, materials that are very ingenuitive. And that's the title of this thing, this show was Creative Ingenuity. Tell me a little bit about Shire when he's in the studio. Have you seen him actually working in the studio? What's he like? What's his temperament? Kind of give us a little insight to what you see when you see him working in his studio.
In the studio, we chat a lot. It's like comedy, which is like a way to trick our minds about the work that has to be done. Because most of the time we have to be the mechanic, we have to be the carpenter, we have to be the artist, painter, sculptor. So it's a lot. So we have to kind of trick our mind. So we're always joking around other stuff to just let us be who we are. So, and I learned that, you know, the first thing an artist has to be is know who you are and be that person, be who you are. Who is Shire as an artist? Shire is a very jovial person and he takes his works very, very seriously. And not only that, he is trying to improve every single day. That is Shire.
And Dee Lammy has an amazing series, and it's a social justice series.
Dee Lammy Hansen, yes. We actually were looking for artists to do some social justice themes, and Lammy was ready. She was right there, and so she's going to tell you a little bit more about this amazing piece that we have right here. And because of social distancing, I'll let her come on in and tell you a little bit about it. Dee Lammy Hansen.
Hello, thank you guys. So this piece is called Mother Freedom's Virtues. And it's kind of like dedicated to the original story of the Statue of Liberty, which when it went up, and this concept of the Statue of Liberty was actually to celebrate the freedom of the slaves. And that's the thing that I wanted to regain the control of the narrative. It wasn't until 17 years later that it was erected that it ended up being dedicated to the immigrants, because that's when the immigrants started coming through to Ellis Island. But the original story was dedicated to the Black people who were freed from slavery. So as I dedicated the first part of words, which says freedom, liberty, truth, justice, courage. So I'm going to go from the under. Courage, this is what you're going to stand on. This is what makes you move. And this is what makes you, it just gives you enough push to keep going. Your justice, this is also the thing that actually goes, something's wrong here, I got to do something about it. Okay, but your truth is actually keeping the positivity of everything that you know is right. And that's your gut. Then you have liberty that it goes crosses your heart. And that's actually, to me, it's your freedom in so many different ways. And the freedom is going across her eyes because she sees the truth. She sees that future of freedom for her and her descendants as time goes on. It's almost like there was a power there for the French to actually see that foregoing of what America was going to be like for the Black American.
That's awesome, Lammy. And it's just so apropos for what's going on today. And I'm glad that we've got an audience that could see your painting and then hear your message. Can you tell us a little bit about, your technique and why you use blue in most of your paintings when you actually paint?
Blue to me actually is about healing. It makes me think of water. It makes me think of sky. It makes me think of things that we don't have to pay for. It makes me think of the things that you absorb that actually just go, and I'm talking about the good stuff. I'm talking about how you can be in water and you feel the healing factors of it. And there's actually drips of the water that as it's coming down, especially in her dress, it's usually in her dress. And as it's coming down, what you're seeing is actually the stain of the water drops. You're not seeing paint coming down so much as you're seeing the drips coming all the way down. And it's only in her dress. It's not in her face because her face is more regal, there's something about holding your chin up that I needed to convey with her.
That's great, Glenn. Thank you so much, Andre.
And one last question.
Yes.
The focus on the torso, is that a parallel to chakras, or just the way that you deal
Well,
with
it could be, because I'm not that apt with chakras. When I say apt, I mean, I don't have a full knowledge of it. I just know that when people are up against something, especially in the sign of the times that we're in right now, there's so many people protesting. There's so many people fighting for the rights of people who have not lived, basically. And then there are people who are actually fighting for the people who have gone through so much. I normally wouldn't create a social justice thing, but as time went on, it's like, just like Frances said, she called me up and she said, hey, do you have any social justice pieces? And then she's like, I love your choker of injustice. And therefore I switched, my whole psyche switched over into the blues, just because the blues are actually the one thing that always moves the soul, no matter what. And it's stark, and I hope when you're looking at it, you're actually seeing something that goes, I feel it, I know exactly what it means. And I love having that near me. Having that healing, but also the fight. Never let the fight go down. Also remember, the original thing was always about Statue of Liberty was actually dedicated to the original thing, our original sin in this particular country, which was the slavery that we are still dealing with. But I got a feeling we're getting close to healing.
And one of the things that I really enjoy about Abiola's work, and we've come to enjoy, is while every artist has a fingerprint as distinct as your own fingerprint, Abiola has the ability to reinvent himself with different series and styles that aren't always the same as his other works, which I love. Not many artists can do it, so please, if you could share with us the story behind Fate and the mediums and process.
The medium is aluminum cans, found objects. And the reason for that is because, people throw things away all the time. And all these things they throw away, including plastic, ends up in the ocean. It's killing marine animals. And the plastic in the ocean now is almost the state of Texas. So as an artist, I've joined the Plastic Organization or Association of America, North America. And our major purpose is to use these objects flowing all over in the ocean to, recover them. And sometimes people are using them to do buildings and build whatever structures. But I found out that I can use the same material, which is to me is an organic material, for my art. This piece is called Fate. Fate is like a kind of destiny in such a way where we all have two things in common. We know that we're born into this world, but at the same time, we're always searching for something. Whatever we're searching for or looking for is always looking for us as well. So when we meet what we are looking for, there's a synergy between us and the thing we are looking for. Some people are looking for love, and if they stimulate their body system to look for love, they will find it. So in other words, we are like magnets. We attract who we are, not what we want. So my art is like, the way I do my art is very simple. I wake up every morning and I don't think about anything. Then I go to the studio. So when I'm in the studio, I play music, classical music or jazz. So at the realm of doing that, there's a consciousness. And I build that consciousness to this point where my body becomes belligerent, uncomfortable, to use whatever I've heard, whether it's music or stories, whatever. Then I use, and I become very unstable. And I use that because I'm troubled now. And it's kind of, my thought has to have an outlet. The first outlet is a piece of paper. Then I start to draw. When I start to draw, then I take it from an iconography or vocabulary, building the vocabulary of art, which are the elements, the shapes, the forms, the texture, and there's got to be a story. So the story behind it is very simple. I met a Shaolin master in China in 2009. So he placed 3 objects in front of me. He said, pick one. So I picked the one in the middle. So when he picked the one in the middle, he said, oh, it's good and bad that I chose. I said, wow, I chose good and bad? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, in life, you have to take both. So fate, F-A-T-E, whatever you're looking for is looking for you, but you have to enjoy the good and the bad. Just like electricity, we have the positive and negative that makes it light. You can't choose one and discard the other. That's the piece behind it.
That's awesome, Abby. And you know, it's still, your good and bad is so appropriate, again, to what's happening today. Sometimes you have to choose the good with the bad to bring out that, you know, synergy and energy that comes out of it. And your work truly has energy. And, you know, I just want to ask a question about the symbols behind it, as well as the material that you're using, which is aluminum. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about those two things.
Okay, like, you know, trying to tell a story of my own experience, my life. So as we're choosing the bad and the good in life, a lot of people that are good will come to your life. A lot of people that are bad will come into your life. Don't worry about the bad people. They are God sent as well. They are here to remind you. For example, I'll give you an example. My wife will come into the studio and the first reaction is, Abiola, why do you have to put a red paint over there? And I said, don't talk about it, please. Please, let me just concentrate. And she will leave. And after that, I will think about what she just said. Wow, is it appropriate to put a red color over there? So she, at that time, was God sent in a way. Maybe I was doing something wrong. And for me to correct that, and I can make a U-turn. So people that comes into our life sometimes, and these are the stories of all these good and bad in life. So in other words, there's a saying in China that anytime we drink water, we must remember the people that dug the well, the people behind the stick. Like, for example, I have to remember you and everybody that God has put in my life. They say, that is, anytime you drink water, you must remember the people that dug the well. I thank my adoptive mother, her name is Mrs. Peggy Wilson. She lives in Jamaica. And I think when I was my first exhibition in China, I was troubled. I was dealing with this artist, Su Hongfei. He had about 22 artists working with him. I only had myself and Bidemi. Bidemi is another artist that you're gonna meet in the future. So we're in the studio and we're working hard. And I was comparing myself, and my mom called me from Jamaica, my adoptive mom, said, Abela, what are you worried about? I was crying. I said, I don't think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go back to America because that's where I feel so comfortable. She said one thing and I'll never forget. She said, Abela, I believe that God has a dream for you. Nikki, we came to the United States and she refused to practice the art. So one day, I think you called me, Andre called me, and you called me to Francis. They said, we need to see Nikki's work. I said, well, Nikki is a very, very shy person to start with. I don't think she's gonna do this. This is something I've been fighting for over 20, 30 years. So one day, I kind of tricked her to work with me and help me out in the piece that I was doing. I said, well, look at you, you can do this. And then she said, okay, I can do it. So she started. And she's trying to use the material she understands, in a way that she grew up with using material like African fabrics. And she's trying to use it in a way where she can touch other people's lives. I mean, art is not about the beautification of the materials and the use of the materials, but how to enrich other people, make them happy. Even in this dispensation, where words fail, art speaks. Art can be very therapeutic, and which is what I enjoy seeing your work, Andre and Francis. And I'm very happy that she's doing what she loves to do. Hopefully she can continue and be consistent. Thank you.
Thank you. And the question I have for you in regards to Nikki's work is the use of her mediums. I see she's using the copper and wire, and then she has a figure in the back that almost looks like a mirage, just sort of blurred out. So tell us a little bit about why she does that, if you know.
So she draws first, and of course, we share the same studio. So she draws first. And she calls me, say, oh, what do you think about this? I say, well, you know what? I hate to tell artists what to do. Do your thing, because that's what you do. But if I see anything that is not lining up, that is when I come in. And I'm not trying to be the master at this point, because art to me is like making love. You have a romance, maybe you come home, you give your wife the flower, but who knows what is going to end up? So you have to step out. It's a rebirth of spontaneity or consciousness that is within you. I cannot understand how you're feeling when you meet your loved one, so I have to just let Nikki go and do our thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And I guess, you being a teacher is appropriate for you to kind of be a part of it. Andre also is my muse and my mentor.
Excellent.
Andre, you've been a wonderful artist. Not only that, a good friend. Francis, thank you so much. God bless you.
You too, Abby. Thank you so much for being here and for being able to talk about each of the pieces that are here today. You did a fabulous job, and we love talking with you. And it's just something about you in the way you experience, or impart your experience to the audience, and giving them not only the information about the art, but also a message behind it and a philosophy. Yes. And the stories that you tell are just, worth every bit of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree. Thank you for your friendship, and thank you for touching us with your creativity.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yes. So we are coming to a close, but before we do, there is one last artist, Makiba Kadim Dubose, who could not attend today because of a previous engagement, but like her previous exhibition, she was actually one of the first ones to sell.
Right.
Right now, I think 5 of the works for the exhibition have sold already.
Yes.
And you can enjoy this exhibit for yourself with your family by going to Gallery Guichard and clicking on the Creative Ingenuity link, and it'll take you to the virtual exhibition catalog.
Exactly.
Easy as 1, 2, 3, click on the link. You can walk around the gallery with your family and choose the works that speak to you. And before we close, we all know this is a very, very important time of the year, and our life depends on the decisions we make as it relates to voting. So I'm going to let Frances share a program that we'd like to close with.
So we are participating with 2020 Victory. And it's important for us all to be a part of what's happening in the country and to be a part of the voting system, to make sure everyone is registered. If you are registered, then get the next person registered, and to participate. We want to make sure Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in office, and also the Democratic tickets. We want to make sure we push the ballot for the Democrats. And in addition to, we have to make sure we stay involved in what's going on. We should volunteer, be a part of things that to help us to make this a better world. And you know, we're just using this as a platform to be able to help people to understand the importance the way we do.
I agree. So it's been a wonderful Bronzeville virtual trolley tour. I hope you had the chance to bounce around to the other 6 institutions. This is the 14th year of the Art District.
Yes.
And it is now the largest African-American art district in the country, which is in the same zip code, 5 or more art institutions that are owned by African-Americans. And it seems like just 6 would be enough to be the largest, but we don't want this to change. And we all know 41% of African-American businesses have already closed. And we don't want our culture to be part of the devastation of quarantine and COVID. So please take advantage of these virtual tours, the virtual exhibition catalog, and see art, love art, buy art, live with the original art. We'll see you next October. Thank you for coming out.
And go to our website, www.galleryguichard.com. You'll be able to hop on the VEX and be able to experience each one of them. Thank you so much for coming out. We truly had a great time. Thank you,
to
artists.
all of our artists. You
Yes.
did an amazing job.
Amazing.
Thank you for sharing your heart and soul.
Thank you. Bye until next time.